to give you some information about Steam Next Fest, yes, we publicly announced that we were going to be present at Steam Next Fest. We can potentially give, a new build for Steam Next Fest, which is what we've always said, Is it likely that we give you guys something new at Steam Next Fest? Yes, it's very likely. But as far as what exactly you're going to get, that's still up for discussion.
Hello. How's it going? So today I was hyped for the Halfsword Steam Next Fest demo, as many people were. There was even some talk in the Halfsword community about even the countdown coming to this and how exciting that is. So I was very hyped. And then we got something else. We got, let me show you what we got. We got this. It says, we've been working hard to prepare new content for Halfsword ahead of the Steam Next Fest. But the truth is, the team's hands, they were full. Between polishing existing systems, adding new features, and improving performance, we didn't want to rush out something that wasn't ready. So while there won't be a new build yet, we still have something special planned. Every single day of the Steam Next Fest will reveal a new sneak peek from upcoming maps, weapons, and new gameplay systems. So we got these pictures. So there's a little bit to unpack. A little bit to unpack here. So I guess what I want to try to do is just kind of figure out what's going on, because at first I heard a lot of speculation, about the possibility for the Steam Next Fest, so I was very excited. So let's just see what's going on here. Let's just try to understand what we've got. So it says they have been working hard to prepare new content for Halfsword. Okay. They had their hands full. So this seems like this is the excuse. The reason, the truth is, they've had their hands full. Okay. Between polishing systems, adding features, and improving performance, game development, we didn't want to rush out something that wasn't ready. Okay, I can respect that. There won't be a new build, but they have something special planned. So this is where I am confused. It says we have something special planned. Now, if this was a semicolon or a colon, I'm not very good at grammar. So if it was a semicolon, then it said every single day of the Steam Next Fest will reveal a sneak peek. If that's what they have special planned, that's gonna suck. So yeah, so here it says, this is what I was talking about. We have something special planned right there. Now, if this was a semicolon or a colon or whatever, every single day of the Next Fest, you're gonna get a sneak peek. That will suck. Okay, that's not going to be what people expected. I don't think it's not what I expected. So if this is what they're saying, the special thing is that's just sucks. No easy way to say that. Cause I mean, look, we get some pictures. That's great. It's cool to see development of the game, but there was promise of something else. So I kind of want to look at a couple things here. So if we go to the Halfsword subreddit, okay, and I'm not going to go to the Discord. It is a pile of garbage. It's hard to figure out. I'm not a huge Discord user. So I want to go to where people were before we heard the sad news. I think this is where it started. So 7 hours ago, yes. So here we are. Let's just look at some of the hype. So it said 2.5 hours. Yes, people are excited. Look at this. It's like seeing the Twin Towers in an 80s movie. Yeah, okay. Then someone posted this. The sad stuff. And before that, people were excited. Yeah, there's a new demo. That's what people were saying. 1 more hour. Unimaginably hyped. I'm going to play it forever, basically. They announced it. They said they were dropping a NextFest build. This is wild to drop on the day of. Okay, so this is where we start to see some of the problem. Okay, so people are coming back to these posts and mentioning how the crap happened. Okay, and so I was trying to figure out. I was really hyped for this game. to come out today. A free game. Okay, I understand. It's a free game. I don't deserve anything, right? But I was hyped because I heard stuff. The community was saying there was going to be something out. So that's where I started looking and trying to be like, okay, I'm upset, but do I have a right to be upset? Let's dive a little deeper here and see if we have any proof to what they said. This video. Okay, so let's go in here and kind of see what it's about. It says we can potentially release a new build. So this guy's saying the build was never confirmed. So let's just listen.
So it's in 10 days. It's not in 9 days actually. So to give you some information about Steam NextFest, yes, we publicly announced that we were going to be present at Steam NextFest, and the question for us right now is because we're knee deep into early access, into preparation for early access, we can potentially give a new build for Steam NextFest, which is what we've always said. Then we need to consider very carefully what we put in that build, because the early access is very, very close after Steam NextFest. And then there's also the consideration to say, if we show you what the game is about at Steam NextFest, and we leave that up beyond Steam NextFest. So let's say, if the demo is 10% of the game and the Steam NextFest build is 30% of the game, and then the early access is like 45 or 50% of the game, then we just need to make sure that there is this need, this justification for the delta between the Steam NextFest version and the early access. So is it likely that we give you guys something new at Steam NextFest? Yes, it's very likely. But as far as what exactly you're gonna get, that's still up for discussion.
Okay, let's listen to the beginning part again.
So it's in 10 days. It's not in 9 days actually. So to give you some information about Steam NextFest, yes, we publicly announced that we were going to be present at Steam NextFest. Did
you catch that? It said, yes, we publicly announced we'll be present at NextFest. So present. Okay, so this is where I'm starting to realize maybe they didn't promise anything. Maybe people are getting upset over nothing. But it seems like a lot of people are not getting upset over nothing. It seems like people realize that here. It seems like people are saying there was other comments being made. Yeah. Going off of this, it definitely does seem like they were planning on at least to have something.
10 days. It's not in 9 days actually. So to give you some information about Steam NextFest, yes, we publicly announced that we were going to be present.
They said they publicly announced that they were going to be present. Let's see if they have anything on their Twitter here, or on X, January 18th. Huh. Yeah, I don't really follow that. Yeah, so they said they did publicly announce it. Now, I can't find where they publicly announced that. Maybe it was in the Discord. But regardless, if we look at a lot of these replies, a lot of people seem disappointed because it did seem like they had some kind of connection here. So if we go back pretty far, I'm so ready for early access. This was 4 days ago. Supposedly something will be announced at Steam NextFest, which starts next week. So this was 4 days ago. I crave it. I'm just having fun. When is it coming? Okay, so that one said that. This post, which was 1 day ago, NextFest build tomorrow. Maybe, hopefully, they said they'd have an updated build for NextFest. It contains 30% of the game. In that other video, they did mention it might contain 30%. So I'm wondering if, again, if they're taking that video and they're saying that that was what they promised, when in reality, it was pretty vague. Okay?
We can potentially give, a new build for Steam NextFest, which is what we've always said,
Okay.
Then
what we have always said, a new build. Okay, so what we have always said, it does seem to confirm that they have been pretty vocal about doing this, releasing some kind of build for Steam NextFest.
We need to consider very carefully what we put in that build, because the early access is very, very close after Steam NextFest. And then there's also the consideration to say, if we show you what the game is about at Steam NextFest, and we leave that up beyond Steam Next Fest. So let's say, you know, if the demo is 10% of the game and the Steam Next Fest build is 30% of the game, and then the early access is like 45 or 50% of the game, then we just need to make sure that there is this need, you know, this justification for the delta between the Steam Next Fest version and the early access. So is it likely that we give you guys something new at Steam Next Fest? Yes, it's very likely. But as far as what exactly you're gonna get, that's still up for discussion.
So just going off of that, it definitely feels like they weren't even sure what they were going to put into this demo. That's odd. And this was 9 days ago, right? They said 9 days from now is Steam Next Fest, and we're not even sure what we're going to put in it. It's supposed to be 30% of the early access, and early access is only 50% of the game, right? So it, even just hearing that, it doesn't sound super promising. It just sounds vague, but it does confirm that they have always said that they were going to put something out for Steam Next Fest, right? Like that's literally the words he said. And so that kind of sucks when Steam Next Fest comes around and they give you this. Okay. And that's kind of the build up to this, okay? And there's a little bit more build up. 5 hours, ragamuffins. NextFest starts at 1 p.m. I can only get Yep, that guy's excited, right? And then this guy heard the sad news. Yeah, Halfsword today. Win. 7 hours. It's NextFest, right? People are really excited. Look, Halfsword tomorrow. People are really excited. See? People cannot wait. They're excited for Steam NextFest. NextFest build tomorrow. All this stuff. And so that kind of builds us into this and why this is important, okay? Because it does say we've been working hard. But the truth is the teams had their hands full. And this is where people are upset. Okay? They're not upset that the game was delayed, right? I mean, it's not even a game. It's just a demo. No one's upset about that. That happens all the time. But they are upset. Look, there's 57 comments. All right? What does this mean? Is early access going to be released? Will it be postponed? Awesome, mercy. And then this guy, this is where a lot of the bad stuff starts happening. This guy gets very upset. Okay. And so this is where we start to see some comments here of people trying to roast this guy for his feelings. And he says, really, a few picks? That's what we waited for? It can't be real. You realize your bleep preview ain't ready for only 1 day Steam Fest. I don't think so. Then you realize a few pictures and don't give us a hint, considering you canceled the last minute preview about the early access release. The image is nothing different from what we could have already seen on Instagram. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I just care enough about this game to break a day from work. So this guy took a day off of work because he was so hyped for this game because, like we said in the video, they were prepped for this. People were aware of the game coming out. So, kind of blows. So this guy's quite upset. And he says, don't think you'll get any trust from me until I see something consistent. Which, if we follow this story, it seems like it makes sense. Because these guys, they promise something, it seems. And so if anyone else can find any other information other than this video that this guy posted, it'd be great. But let's keep going a little bit. So this guy commented, and I think this is the developer. And he says, thank you. Now again, I may not be 100% sure, but I'm almost sure that's one of the developers, maybe. I think I've seen this name before. So I might want to take that with a grain of salt, but I'm almost certain it's one of them because then they say, thank you. Which again is almost just another slap in the face, I think, personally. Now again, if this isn't the developer, this doesn't make sense. Why would they say thank you, right? I think that's kind of a bad move to say thank you to that. That's tough. It says, thanks for releasing not even the full pics for the update. Really makes for a failed promise to not even give us that. The other guy's right, referring to this guy who commented this, who took his day off of work. The other guy's right. If you can't even show us the full update with a release date after a failed promise, why should I trust you to release the game before the end of 2025? This is not what we expected. And then there's just people kind of white knighting a little bit, just saying, like, it's no big deal, guys. Just let it go. And then this guy's just making fun of this guy, saying, you're okay. It's not really that big of a deal. And again, to this guy's point, this is a game. It's a free game, a free demo, right? Now, if I took a day off of work just to play a game, I think I'd be pretty upset too. But again, that's not on the developers. That's kind of on you for taking the day off. But I understand his pain. And I think for this guy to say it's not a big deal, I think it's funny because, everyone else is saying, low-key, this is crappy, announcing that not even an hour before Steam Next Fest. Okay, a lot of people are excited to try the new build. A lot of people are following this game. And then literally the moment that they're supposed to have their big reveal, they basically give us 3 pictures. Okay, and again, this guy's responding to the guy saying it's not a big deal. He's saying this doesn't hurt my feelings. I wrote for the developer, right, as a potential customer. Now people are questioning if it's going to release because, again, I think this is where the disappointment is. It's not that this was delayed. The disappointment really is in the communication from the devs, and we'll see. Wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed another year thanks to the disappointment. We keep moving. Looks promising. I, for the life of me, can't find a rational reason for them to reveal the delay at the last minute. I think this is what we're all thinking, right? This is how I feel. It's like, dude, release in the last minute. What the heck? Like a lot of people, I'm very upset you didn't cancel the build earlier. Poor communication. And so that's really the issue. And then this guy's saying it's not a big deal. I'd rather wait for it to be polished. Again, of course, we all want a game that's playable, but these people aren't upset that the game got delayed. They're upset that it got no communication up to this point, right? And this guy explains it very well. He says the majority of people aren't upset about the build not being here. They're upset the delay was announced the minute the Steam Fest started. It was expected to be the announcement of the new build. Who would want an unpolished product, right? So, and then they just keep battling back and forth. But you get the picture. Again, I'm just a little disappointed, right? But it's just a demo, right? It's not the end of the world. I just think maybe to have some kind of communication would be helpful moving forward. And again, I have a lot of things going on in my life. I don't have time to just sit around and play a demo, but I was looking forward to it as a lot of people were. And just to see just the nonchalant, here's 3 pictures, we promised something big, and the big thing potentially is going to be just us releasing a bunch of pictures. I just think that's kind of a dirtball thing to do. Now you can take the side of like, dude, it's a video game, get a life. Yeah, right? Fair. That's fair. But also, professionalism is important for any industry, right? If I said, hey, to my kids, I was like, hey, you're going to get something really big on your birthday. Can't wait. And then their birthday comes and I give them like a salad or something they don't care about or something they didn't expect, or even just nothing great, they'd be upset, right? And I can say, well, they're children. But this goes to show just, again, we got to hold people to their word, I think. I think it's important if you want good communication and good respect from people. You just got to hold people to their word. If your word was saying something was going to happen and then nothing really happens, or a new build, like they even mentioned, like a new build, and then all we get is some pictures, I think that's just not great. And then if we look at another thing, because this isn't their first time just failing, because we go down to this announcement on April Fool's, and then they explain the game and everything. They say, now, yesterday we decided to shadow drop an early version of the update as an April 1st joke. Without explanation, we thought it'd be funny. Clearly, some of you didn't see it that way. If we annoyed or frustrated you, we're sorry. Making a game is tough. Bugs happen, things break, and sometimes we must misjudge how something will land. That being said, part of this update was also a way to test how players respond to different experiences. Okay, so their explanation here, instead of saying, like that, they're saying clearly some of you didn't see it that way. If we annoyed or frustrated you, we're genuinely sorry. And why are they sorry? Because making a game is tough. I don't know. That just kind of feels weird. Even when I read this, when this came out, I was kind of like, that's a weird apology. It doesn't seem like they're actually genuinely sorry, even though they say that here. And so now, the moment for the game to come out happens, or at least the Steam Fest thing comes out, and there's radio silence. Again, maybe they're just waiting. It's only been the day of, okay? So we can't freak out. Day of. We'll see how it goes. I mean, maybe they'll shadow drop something like they did before. Maybe they'll just blue ball us for 7 days. And then release the game and we'll all buy it, so it won't matter. Either way, I think the takeaway here is whether you're a game studio, whether you're a person, whether you're whatever you are, I think the takeaway is stay true to your word, communicate things if they're not going to happen on your timelines that you've built, and just realize too that game development's hard and we got to give people slack. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. It'll be fun. So I just wanted to get a kind of a video out, just kind of explaining at least how I saw this go down. It's disappointing a little bit, but it's going to come out and it'll be fun. We'll all buy it and then we'll move past this, hopefully. But I think one of the hard things with early access is what the product we're buying is a promise, right? It's not really a full product yet. And I think people just saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal if you release a game that sucks or if you break your promise or break your word. I think it is a big deal because we are going to be purchasing a promise. We're not purchasing a full game. And so if a developer expects us just to let their word slide, how can we trust anything they say? And so I think that's a fair point. And I think a lot of video game people who buy games, a lot of these customers, they've grown accustomed to being screwed around with, and there's that's just how it is. I just blow my money, right? But I don't think that's how it should be. And so, again, I want to give these guys a grain of salt. They're a new dev team, but it doesn't take a genius to listen to that video from 9 days ago and see that they probably didn't have a good idea and they're just trying to get expectations out. It would have been far better to even the day before, even an hour before, to say, hey guys, we're really sorry. We made promises and we broke them. We don't have a build ready. And they keep baiting us along by saying, hey, we've got something planned. It's going to be really special. How am I supposed to trust that? So that's kind of what it comes down to. And if you think that's stupid, you think it's stupid of me to make a video about this the day of it happening when we have no truth, I'm sorry, okay? I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm excited about this game. I'm excited about it coming out. And I didn't see any videos on it. And I was kind of like, there's got to be someone who knows stuff about this. I've just been following it a little bit just this moment. So I just wanted to get something out quick. So comment if you got any other views on this or any other things I could look at to kind of give me a fuller picture. Maybe I can update this as we go, but that's just, from me, that's all I had. We got to hold people accountable. That's the long and the short, especially with early access when we're trying to buy a game that isn't even a product yet. It's just a promise of what it's going to be. So I think that's why people are upset. Again, the guy was upset because he took a day off of work. That does suck. But again, just because he took a day off of work, that doesn't mean it's their fault, but it is their fault because they said they'd have it ready, or at least something more than pictures. So I understand why he's mad. And instead of replying, thanks, I think that's a crappy thing to do. I think like that would blow off a potential customer. I think it's much better to come up to them and try to be like, hey, yeah, we made a mistake. Sorry. Will we see that? I don't know. If I do see that, I know I'll feel better. I'll have a little bit more hope, at least moving forward. I just would like to see something where they would stick to their word and be truthful instead of falling back and saying, well, we actually said. So anyway, I'm keep rambling. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to actually see how this goes and see the flames, if it goes down burning or if it goes well. I'm hoping it goes well. We shall see. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.